Good morning, my name's Maria and I'm from the Rich and Simple Living. Today's Friday and we're coming at you with a vlog about Vikings today. I'm going to show you how those comprehension sheets that I showed you Sean does for English, how just doing one of them sparks interest into bigger things. So I'm just going to swing you around and you can have a look at the comprehension sheets that she did. She did these earlier in the year before, well, what would have been last school year, so to speak, but earlier this year. And I'll show you what she was doing. So I'll just swing you around. Right, we have to excuse the light a bit. I'm trying to catch the light just right, but my table is a bit full, as you can see. Sean is actually doing some work in the book I'm going to show you in a minute. And on the other side of the table, Dean's put a big pot of paint because he's having to do some bits on the door frame and the dog has scratched them. So when we shut it at night, go to bed, she wants to get up to us and she's been scratching it, so he's had to paint over it. So I'm having to balance the book as best I can and hopefully you can see it. So it started off, Sean doing some of these comprehension sheets, and she did one on Beowulf, an epic poem, and read it and did all the questions. And then she had another sheet. There was these were free ones actually from Twinkle, and there was quite a big pack of Viking things. We didn't download everything, we just downloaded what I thought she would like doing. So again, there was another comprehension sheet on victorious Vikings, and that was another like question answer one with it. And then part of it was also, can you draw and label what you think a Viking warrior might have looked like? She hasn't actually labelled it, but she's drawn the warrior, which I think looks really good. So she's drawn that, and she was really enjoying it and getting into it at this point and asking questions about it. So then there was another part of it, Viking Roon writing. So she had to write a message. Now, don't ask me what it says, I can't remember. But as you can see, that it's got like our alphabet up there and the rune words there, letters. And I know that was a name. And then she had to write a message. I think she wrote a message to her sister. That actually looks like the word sister. And she had to do that. And she enjoyed it and found it good fun. So she wanted, from there, she wanted to know more about Vikings. So I had a look on Amazon to see what else there was on Vikings that she could learn for home education. And can I just borrow your book a minute, Sean? Sean's actually working on it at the moment. But we got these, I'll find your page back in a minute on this. This study guide, study book, and activity book. Now, don't worry about the years. These say years 5 to 6. Don't worry about them. I mean, Sean's obviously beyond that if she was in school. It's just, it was something more for her to do about Vikings. So if I just give you a flick through, she did start this a couple of months ago. So it has got like who were the Vikings, and then like I showed you with the German book, I think it was, where everything corresponds. If I can turn the pages, we'll show you the same. There we are, look. You've got the questions, who were the Vikings? So it asks questions from the workbook, but it has bits on itself as well, like here, imagine that you're a Viking who was visiting England, write a letter to your brother, can't say his name, describing England and explaining why you might like to travel to England too, or he might like to travel too. So she's put, as she said, there's tons of money, we love money. So that's what she thinks of Vikings. They're money mad. Land of money. Pretty much summed it up. But yeah, so each page does correspond. And there you've got to like look at a map and colour where Vikings come from and that. It's good as well because it's got the timelines along the top for what it's talking about. I've got you a little bit sideways here, but like I said, I'm trying to get the light and have room on the table as well. So then that it goes into Viking values. And what I like about the book, it's got lots of pictures in it, lots of nice pictures. The Norse beliefs, And we're following the timeline all the time, corresponding to what each section is talking about. Afterlife, time to party. Viking voyages. Went to Russia. Yes, Sean. Raiding and trading. Viking visits. But I have been to Linda's farm, but we're going to show you a little trip out in a bit. And I've not seen it mentioned at all in this book. I've not seen it at all, which is a little bit surprising. And we're not going to York, by the way, if anybody's thinking we're off to Viking York. No, it's just somewhere local that has something to do with Vikings, but you'll see in a moment, because I shall tag it on to the end of this and you'll see. Some more Viking visits. I'm looking to see if I can see any mention, but I've not seen anything so far. Viking victories.
Didn't I have to draw him?
Yes, you based your drawing on that one. Sean based a drawing on him.
How about this one?
I think. Where's that Viking victories? That's a Viking victory fight.
What page is it?
I'm surprised that where we are going to go, well, where we've been, but you're going to see in a minute, isn't actually mentioned on this page. Imagine you were, I'm just showing you work she's pointing out. Imagine you were Alfred the Great. Write down how it feels to be the last Anglo-Saxon king, stand up to the Vikings. I'll burn your cakes if you don't leave. I think that was a threat, not how you felt.
Yeah. Yeah, but look what I wrote on this one.
He went around burning cakes. Alfred the Great.
Cake.
I think you need to find something a little bit more sensible to add on to it. So yeah, we've got now defeating the Anglo-Saxons. I still can't see anything that mentions something that was quite important. So we've got Alfred the Great. It covers the Danes and the Dane law. Like I say, the pictures are good, and like pictures of finds and things are really good. Viking Jorvik. Athelstan and Constantine. Vikings in the 10th century. But yes, I'm very surprised that it doesn't mention where we're going to. We have York and we have Linda's farm, but where we're going to, I'm surprised it's not mentioned at all. Athelred is unready.
How do you read that?
The kings after Canute.
Wait.
Oh, hang on, we've missed a page. King Canute and Emma.
Wait, hold on, let me get that one.
What are you looking for,
Wasn't
Sean?
his name meant something like he was ready, but he wasn't? Wait, does that make sense?
I'm not sure. We'll come to it. You've obviously had a quick look at things ahead, haven't you? But we'll come to it. So we've got King Canute and Emma. After we've just done, I did show you King Canute, did I? Oh, yeah, King Canute and Emma. Oh, and I still can't see nothing about it. The kings after Canute. It just doesn't mention the kings prior. Pardon?
How do you spell tutorial?
Tutorial.
Yeah.
Tutorial. Then we've got the Conqueror is coming. I know where that leads into then. I must be leading into the Norman period after that. The only thing I think I wish we'd have done is bought the Anglo-Saxon one as well. There's an Anglo-Saxon book. Well, the Anglo-Saxon just comes in prior to it, and then they clash into each other. Yes, I wish I'd have bought that. Maybe I should have got that one as well and done that one first. So if anybody does think about getting them to learn the Vikings, might be a good idea to get the Anglo-Saxon one first and then the Viking one. And like I say, I mean, Sean's working on this one today. Do you want your page back on this, Sean? What page were we on? Alfred the Great. Sean's working on it, and the pages do correspond.
Done it.
Wriggling things around here to get some space. So yeah, I'm not sure the great comes from in burning cakes though, Sean. Otherwise we'd all be great. So yeah, that's what Sean's doing today. You want me to read all of it? Yeah. Write a biography of Alfred the Great. Use the information in the fact file to help you, along with the information on pages 22 and 23 of the study book. Burnt a woman's cakes, that's where the great comes from. I doubt that. Alfred the Great is great at burning cakes. He taught his children to burn cakes. Oh, Sean, that's not really answering any of it, is it? That's just making a mockery of it. He put up a tutorial on YouTube on how to burn them. After burning them, he shared his post on Instagram and Twitter.
I think I'm great.
No, I think you need to read through and actually find what you are meant to be writing. Oh dear. No, thank you. So yeah, Sean hopefully is now rewriting something sensible. Otherwise she's learning nothing. So what we're going to do now then, we're going to leave the workbooks behind, so you can see it progress from the comprehension sheet. She took an interest, she started to read up about it herself and look at things. We got her some workbooks, but like I say, I wish I'd got the Anglo-Saxon ones to go with it and done them first. So if you're thinking of getting them, I suggest you do that. And then we had a look around locally what there was to do with Vikings. I already knew of somewhere, and it's not far away, so we'll go and have a look at that. Although I filmed it the other day, you're going to see it now, so that's where we're going now to see all about it. Well, here we are. We're in Repton, the ancient capital of Mercia. Church is famous for having two kings buried here, as I was about to say. I'll tell you all about that. Also, we're on the lookout for Vikings. I'm going to go into the church and have a look in there, in the crypt, and also we're going to look where these Viking burials were. Okay, well, we've got the church there, and it's like in a D shape. There along there is the River Trent, which is presumed the old causeway where the Vikings sailed in. They took over the church and used it as part of their defence system. It was like a monastery or something back then, and they took it over. So I'll just tell you a little bit about what I know. Like I say, it's St Winston's, it's in Repton, and it's the capital of the ancient kingdom of Mercia. It's famous for its Anglo-Saxon crypt, which is the burial place of two Mercian kings. There was a third one buried here. That was King Wixton, as he was known, and later Wystan, who the church is named after. He was buried here originally, but he was removed, then returned, and then removed again by King Canute. His bones now lay in Evesham Abbey. There are two others here, There's King Athelbald of Mercia. He died in 757. And there's King Wiglaf of Mercia, and he died in 839. I was going to say 18 then. Somewhere to the west of St Winston's Church there are remains of a Saxon chapel where in the 1980s a mass grave was found, which is thought to be that of the Great Danish Army. It roughly contained 300 human remains, 20% of them being female and 80% of them being men, and they showed signs of a violent death. There was also Viking artefacts found amongst them, including a Thor pendant. The data from the late 800s AD, which is consistent with the time when the army wintered in Derbyshire. So we'll go and see what we can find. we've come back down to the crypt, just a couple of us. These are the original Anglo-Saxon pillars. It's the only original Anglo-Saxon parts of the church there. We're in the crypt area. I'm not sure where the bones are supposed to be of the two kings I mentioned. There's all these little alcoves that they could be in. This is a dark area, I can't really see into that, I can't focus on it. I mean, that looks like the likely spot. What do you think, Sean? Probably. We were discussing where the bones probably were, because they would have buried the bodies, waited till the flesh had gone, and then they just buried the bones, reburied the bones. And this is where they're supposed to be, in the crypt. But I don't know where we were discussing where they could be. Some of us thought that maybe it was under the stones. Some people think maybe they're just letting you believe they're still here, but they're hidden away because of grave robbers, so to speak. These pillars are nice, aren't they? This is why I was saying we could have done with doing Anglo-Saxons first, because obviously we're in the Anglo-Saxon crypt. We're talking of the Anglo-Saxon kings that were buried here. Like I say, King Wystan, who became Saint Wystan, he was originally here and removed, is now in Evesham Abbey. I don't really know. Sunshine outside, there's some rafters up there, so it's a lot lighter now to come back in. So you'll see my original shot I took when there was a few of us in here. And this is, we've popped down on our own. And they've left me in here, and I don't like dark, confined spaces. But it's just interesting. So yeah, we're in another world. Step back in time to the time of the Anglo-Saxons down here. And we're at the peak of the Danes invading. So we're going to go outside. They did find Danish graves, Viking graves. Although there's nothing to see now, but we'll go around the graveyard and we'll have a look and a talk. On our way up, see these steps, how worn they are, especially that one, because when St. Wystan was here, pilgrims were coming backwards and forwards and wore the steps out. We're on the hunt for graves to do with Vikings, which is difficult, but while we're passing, I'll just show you this. Is it C.B. Fry, 1956? He was a famous cricketer, apparently. I mean, I've not heard of him, but I think his association with Repton was he went to school here, because if I swing around, you can see some parts of the public school. Public school goes right through Repton, lots of different sections of it. And thinking of that, this week being the week of Roald Dahl, celebrating Roald Dahl, as it was his birthday on the 13th, on Monday, he also attended Repton School. So, just a little nugget of information. You know, those little bits I'm always talking about. Some nice stones there. But what I did want to do, if we see it, we can't go through there because it's a private school, but as you can see, the churchyard does extend beyond there, and it goes round the green round there and right up to the back of the church, along the church. Now, it was along there that they dug up some graves, and they found what seemed to be an important chieftain. He was about 6 foot tall. He was the one buried with the Thor hammer around his neck. He'd got a sword. Dean, you can't go in there, it's public school. we'll move away. We're not going. I'm going this way because I want to go there. It was, they found a grave of what looked like a chieftain, like I said, and he was buried with a sword and grave goods and things like that. And rumour has it, it may have been either the boneless. There's no proof of that, there's never going to be any proof of that. But going from the chronicles and things, there's a good chance it could be. So, yeah, so that was around that side. We'll have a look around the wall on the other side, see if we can just peer in the corner just to show you where it was. There's no signs of it now because it was all removed and covered back over. Right, we're walking along the path. Beyond there's a gate and there's the vicarage. Now, in the grounds of the vicarage, I'm not going to be able to see, but I won't go further in, it's all graves and that. Behind these walls is the Vicarage Gardens, and there was a mound in them gardens which I think was believed to be part of an old Anglo-saxon church, and inside of there was bones. I think I've said a little bit earlier, oh well, I said 300, but some reports say 250, 260ish, so between 250 and 300 individual people, some women, some men, and they were dug up bearing, a lot of them had got horrific wounds, they'd been in battle. So they believe that these are part of the Great Army that wintered in Repton and then obviously battled and died here. So yeah, it's a shame we can't go in and see, but it's all been flattened out now and they've all been removed. They have got all relics and things that were found in the museum in Derby, which I think will be the next trip we'll have to do. And of course they've got Egyptian mummies there as well. So I quite like seeing them. So yeah, it's a shame we can't get over to the Vicarage Garden and just have a look, but there's nothing to see anyway. But yeah, beyond that wall into the Vicarage Garden was found this, I say tomb, but apparently it was the bottom of part of an old Anglo-Saxon church. And they say that it looked like the bodies had been buried somewhere, and then when the flesh had rotted, decomposed, they took the bones and put them in a pit there on the bottom of the old church remains. So yeah, that was our trail of the Vikings. Unfortunately we can't actually see the graves, but we are at the place where the Vikings and the Anglo-Saxons collided, which is why I don't know why it's not mentioned in the workbooks of Sean's. It surprises me greatly because Repton was the old capital of Mercia. So yeah. Dean's busy looking at graves. There's nothing more peaceful than walking around graves, especially graves that have a lot of information on, and old graves. So that's it then for today, Friday. Didn't get to see many Vikings, or we can't actually see the king, Anglo-Saxon king's bones. I was expecting to see them in little casks or something, but I think common sense says it probably can't be when it's in the place it's in. So either they're buried under the stonework in the crypt or they're somewhere else, but nobody says where, because everywhere says they're here in the crypt. So yeah, I don't know what they did with all the bones from the the Great Army that came to settle in Repton over winter. I don't know where all the bones went. Probably stored away in some back of some museum somewhere. And I don't know what they did with the Great Warrior's bones either, can't seem to find out, but I do know the artefacts are in the museum in Derby, which at some point we'll go and visit, but it won't be for a little while because we're busy. Got other things coming up, so maybe it's something to do in winter when we can't go elsewhere. So yeah, and that's it for Repton Church and the Vikings, and we'll see you again now on Tuesday. Next week's a really busy week and we've got a special event coming up next week, so I'm not sure what you're going to be watching, what I'm going to be filming, but you'll see something. So have a good weekend, take care, and we'll see you on Tuesday. Bye.